He did Jewish genealogy.
Yes.
And he came back. It came back that he has the Kohen gene. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was a big thing. I remember when I first came to Israel in the 90s, at the end of the 90s, everyone was doing that test.
They're able to test.
So people were like, go do it. I'm like, brother, like, you go to Beis Kvaros with my family and you see the symbol of the Kohanim, but you think they're going to, in an Orthodox cemetery, they're going to bury and put that symbol on the grave just for fun.
Right.
So it's a Masorah. We came to England with a Masorah, and it's through the United Synagogue. United Synagogue have everything written down. Like they remind my father still when all the yachtzites sold, because it's part of the system of the English
when you really think
establishment
about
of the Jewish community.
The chances of somebody one day deciding that he's a Kohen and getting away with it is very slim. Like if you think about it, if you go through the Masorahs.
If you end up, because when you go to, for example, get married in Eretz Yisrael, which I did, you have to bring your kasuba, and you have to bring, if they're divorced, you have to bring the gerusha, the get.
Right.
So we had to do both.
I had to bring my kasuba.
So we went once, just to say an interesting story, we went to the Eidach Redis, and the Eidach Redis were like, we looked a bit bad chuvery, or maybe we were just honest with them, and they.
It's a Nike hat?
Yes, Nike. Baruch Hashem.
I gotta call Jerry. You got all the swag. I get nothing.
Yeah. You get a lot, man. Don't worry.
I don't get swag.
I hustle for it.
I gotta buy all my own clothes. Good learning.
Baruch Hashem. So anyway, it's all good. So the idea of what was I saying? I'm a bit like lost thought.
Yeah, you were by the Eidach Redis.
So the Sat Mechaber there, the Eidach Redis guys were like, you can't go through us. Go to the rabbinate.
Really, because you're a Baal Tshuva.
And the gerusha and this and that. So for my wife's parents. So I was like, okay. I didn't, hold a grudge about it, but we went to the rabbinate and it was a balagan, like real Israel balagan.
Yeah.
Like this person saying to that person, this person, that person. We hardly spoke Hebrew in those days, or just made just hadn't even made Eliyahu, just new here completely. And, the original nisyonos of moving to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
It can be Yisurim. So, and it was even more of a balagan. It wasn't like all electronic like it is now. And they were sending us this place. We were there for a few hours getting nowhere. Yeah, it was a nightmare. Yeah. And my wife does speak better Hebrew, but still, she was very, what do you call when you're intimidated,
Yeah.
by the way the Israelis, she still wasn't used to she's now the opposite. She can deal with them easily. But back then, anyway, so...
I feel like if you live like with the...
This is late 90s, or early 2000. Yeah, live what?
So if you live in the Haredi neighborhood, you can deal with anything.
Well, that does toughen you up. That's true, but
that's like the toughest neighborhood.
Yeah. No, we've become tough, Baruch Hashem, from it. But and I think
Haredi kids.
I was talking about it last night on the podcast. How my son became a fighter growing up in that community. So then when he transferred it to the army, but not only was he good, he knows how to learn Gemara, and he has a Gemara cop like we were learning just now with Shlomo. But he also has ability to fight.
Yeah, if the Haredim joined the army, they would be unbelievable fighters.
Right.
Maybe physically they'd have to step up their game a little bit.
But some that do. I mean, look, my son did, and he's become top. He's the top of Chavod Hashem, top of Sanchanim.
Yeah.
He's tough.
There are all these Haredi, like
he's
all
my kids
these
are
guys are the toughest people. Just because, it's like these little things. First, they all grow up. They're so poor. The average guy in Meir Sharim, they share their bedroom with half their family.
Yeah, we give away our stuff when we move or when we change, we clean out the house. We give it away like gemachim. And you know how many times they've seen people wearing our clothes in Meir Sharim?
Yeah.
They've even phoned us up because they saw the phone number on the clothes and asked us if we have more.
Like the average kitchen.
Imagine getting a call like that.
Crazy. Like
and we did. We found more clothes for them.
The average kitchen in Meir Sharim serves as a bedroom.
Yeah,
I remember, whenever you walk around, the kitchen is a bedroom.
The amazing thing, there has been a lot of modernization, even in that world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The new generation are in a different world. They've got nice cars. They're getting around. It's a new generation. The world's changed.
Oh.
But there's still the old school people there. But there's the new generation, and my kids are friendly with the new generation. They're very up to date.
Oh yeah, really? They're not like.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Technology and reality, and
they still have the internet guys.
And they want to make they sort of rebel against it in a kosher way. Like they still look told us Aaron or whatever, but they're doing business and they're involved, and they've got stuff going on. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's happening with Mela. That's why I don't see why we need to all be stressed out about modernizing the Charedim. Because no one should be proactively doing it. Just let
They'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Look at BORUCH.
you can help them. You can give them opportunity. You don't need to go like as an agenda, force them. That's not going to work. That would just make them go back the other way. It has to come from a real place of want and development, not forcing. Anyone who has these agendas is like left-wing crazy people.
Jam it down their
forcing
throats,
this
it's
whole
not really
woke
gonna
thing.
help.
All it's done is create a backlash. It hasn't. No one's becobbled their way of doing stuff. It hasn't worked.
Right.
The left
Also like
woke thing
misdirected,
it's failed.
misdirected anger.
But back to the Rabbanut, and then we'll start learning Tanya.
Yeah.
So we're running around for hours, and comes this Rav. There's a famous Rav, Dayan there, Bavarian Tro. He comes up and he finds us, Min Shamayim, and says, "Look, you guys are like you were lost, like you're not getting anywhere. Let me see all your papers." So we hand this whole pile of stuff, and he looks through it all. He says, "Give me about 10 minutes, I'll be back." We weren't getting anywhere, and you could see on our faces we were just so frustrated, newly married, trying to get married, and so he literally in 10 minutes did what probably would take another few more hours.
Wow.
Just stamped this, that, done. We knew all the offices to go to. And he's a busy rabbi, he's a Dayan, he's got a lot to do.
Wow.
He took 10 minutes out of his time to save us from hours more of Agmas Nefesh. And that's what makes the world go around. Those kind of moments where people, Chesed Olam Yabana, the idea that people out there who are in situations of power and authority and have Baruch Hashem, have a much bigger kochus and skill set than others, and they use it to help others. They not use it to rule over people, they use it to help them, to serve them. David Avdecha.
Right.
And that's really the Nakuda. We were talking about right now, the Avrechim. So the Avrechim, the real goal of these Torah people is to get to a point where they're serving Hashem be'emes.
Right.
And they're learning Torah, l'shem Shemayim, l'shma. We just learned now, like this idea of Chochmah Bina and getting into the Das, getting into what Torah creates is an opportunity for yichudim, for unifications, and that's where we've been let down a little bit because sometimes I was talking about my journey last night in the podcast in the Haredi world and the learning and there was some of the things that my children went through was not that. It wasn't about their souls and their development. It was about agendas, nothing to do with that.
Right.
So really you have to, each person, if he's involved with Torah especially, has to really purify his reason.
Right.
And that's why learning this Hasidus, learning Musa, learning Sfarim about it is crucial because it guides you now how to then learn Vita. When you're learning Shas, and you're learning Poskim, you're learning anything else, you've got the right understanding that you have a Nefesh Elikus, you have a Nefesh Bahamas, and right now while you're learning, your Nefesh Elikus is Sholet, your Marach is Sholet, which is the right way. Your brain needs to be ruling over your heart. You can't let the heart run your life. You can't let the things that are negative for your Yiddishkeit to run your life, and you have to work on yourself to be real with that, and be real that you have an Nefesh Bahamas. This is what Huawei says again and again with Shai's Tab as well, and from the 12-step world as well. That reality check is the key part, and that's what he's bringing here in Tanya. That's why I asked for Shai's Tab. He's like, amazing. How did you come up with these questions and answers, and how are you able to help people so clearly? He said it's all from Tanya. He said, I honestly can only attribute anything I've got from the Tanya. He said everything. When you're reading my articles in the Ami or whatever, it's Tanya. It's not me. I mean, that's his humility, but it's Tanya. So let's learn the Tanya.
Yep.
So this dude, he's now purified his. He's not a dude. He's a holy avrech. He's a Talmid Chacham. He's learning Yegeb Yom V'Layla. And what happens? Can you pick me up at the line because I don't have the here. Because they're come and no for because they're come. So we're talking about the up and down of the Yetzer Tov.
Right. Let me just quickly remind myself of what
Here, this is it. V'af gamzo sapam. So even those times of the Yetzer Tov is ruling over. Yeah, what happens?
Oh, 1 second. I'm just reading this part. 1 second.
No problem. So we're talking about the guy who's Resh Be'esh. He's learning.
So you said other safer.
Yeah, Mimshal Levad Ksiv V'La'om L'Ometz Yometz K'Shazeh Kam Zeh Noful K'Shazeh Kam Nefesh Alekis Nis Amts is a Gavaris on a Nefesh Bahamas. So there's Gavris. There's a Gavris on the Nefesh Bahamas. This is the guy who's learning all the time. And Makor Gavos. We said that the and this is again connect to the shir we just had this morning.
Right.
And the Gevoras are Shim Bina. They're Makoras in Bina. And we said the Kav of Bina, Gevora, Hod. That was how we understood it last time we learned.
Oh, okay,
It's
yeah.
Bonan Begadless Hashem, Ein Sof Baruch Hu. So what happens? This guy, this Tamachochem.
Right there. Nefesh alikos misametz miskaberes.
Yeah.
Ala nefesh behamis b'mekor hagavura shehi bina.
Bina.
This divine soul gains strength and ascendancy.
Yes.
Ascendancy is what we need.
Ascendancy.
In the source of strength, which is bina.
Bina. And Bina is what? To lisbonen begadless Hashem Ein Sof Baruch Hu. He's thinking deeply, using his mind, which is quite chiddush nowadays, but using your mind to think deeply into the greatness of Hashem. Not using your phone to think for you, but actually working your mind. That's why, once again, learning Torah strengthens the koyach of moyach. That gives you ability to now use it. Yeah, to use your mind to think deeply into things, deeply into Torah, deeply into Shalom bias, deeply into Hinuch, deeply into business issues. With the koyach of moyach, you can think deeply. So here he's saying,
I need to get back into learning some Gemara.
Yeah, I think so.
I used to learn that was
this
my
is
mahalach, was the brisk mahalach.
He's called a litvak, the Balatonian.
Right.
So when you're learning,
very into learning.
It's a very lamdish explanation of all this. So we are entering into that kind of a concept. This is more like behind the scenes of what's going on when you're learning Gemara. This is when learning Tanya, it's like behind the scenes. But this bonen begalas Hashem Ein Sof Baruch Hu, and you misbonen in the greatness of Hashem Yisbarach, of the Ein Sof, the infinite one, may be blessed. Laholid ahava. And what does it do? It gives birth to what? To ahava, to love Azza. Ahava Azza. What's Ahava Azza? Strong, fiery love. La Hashem Karish Be'esh. And it's a fire that's in the right side of the heart. Shebelibo. So this is, remember, the mayach is the nefesh elokus is sholet generally, and then it is mashpir downwards to the right side of the heart, the levas yamini, the lev, the chalav yamini and the lev shebelibo. It gets strengthened now with this fiery love, because that's, remember, it's holid emotions. Bina gives birth to emotions. That's what we're learning right now. Chochma, from Rav Shlomo, we're learning Chochma is a spark of inspiration. You said Beis HaMikdash, for example. Bina, and I actually mentioned that in the podcast last night also. Bina,
like putting it together, coming up with the game plan.
I said we have to think about Beis HaMikdash,
which
Mashiach.
Then gives birth to Das.
But how are we going to get to the Beis HaMikdash Bina and Mashiach? We have to talk about it. The rabbi said very wisely, we have to have, Rav Shlomo Katz said, we have to have think tanks. We have to actually talk about it. We have to have conversations again and again about Mashiach. Not some flag and just go on and on like some buzzword, like the way politics work. Mashiach. But there's no development. It doesn't develop. It's just pushing your chochmah to everyone. Yeah, we actually have to talk it out. If one of the things I need to learn is if a woman is more strong in bina, the power of talking it out. My wife. Sometimes I feel like, wow, so much they go on. Yeah. But what's the real panemius? It's like learning a sugya in Shas. Shut up, Eli. I have to shut the Eli up and listen to this woman, because she's now doing pilpul on my chochmah, and she's helping me really get
so much more reactive.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, why you see, again, I'm going to take a generalization.
Yeah.
Just because I've been in the situations I've been in, most or majority of addicts are men, not women.
Yeah.
Because, most addictions, maybe food
women
addiction.
have different addictions.
I think food and body images.
They have control issues.
Yeah,
like they want to walk
into an AA meeting. It's like 85 to 90% men.
I remember I worked
in rehab. Drug meeting, 90% men.
Yeah, and what you said was true, because I used to remember, if I look at the meetings, the guys who had drug addiction or sex addiction, the women were cutting themselves and eating issues.
Right.
And some of them had sex addiction, but it wasn't a different way than
we don't have
men
the
manifest.
We need the.
Yeah, so I've seen how it does differentiate.
Does different things. The women.
They started asking me to counsel the women, and I really didn't feel comfortable, because as a man, I just didn't feel like I was the right shliach for that. That's one of the reasons why I stopped doing it, because they wanted me to also work with the women.
Where is this, here?
Yeah, it was a place called Retorno.
Retorno. Someone told me about this place.
Yeah, it's intense. But I didn't feel comfortable. Also, I didn't feel comfortable how they did their therapy. It was very old school, like putting them in a dungeon kind of thing. And they didn't behave. And
that's retarded.
Like, one time I came to talk to one of the guys, and he's covered in his own urine and just sitting there, not allowed to leave the room. The whole room stinks. And
they still do that?
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't know if now. I haven't been there for many years, but it was a bit old school, or army style, a bit too army style.
Hi.
Yeah. and especially for the English-speaking worlds, it's a bit too tough.
Returno. Is that like a state-funded program?
There definitely is some state funding. I didn't get involved too much with the finances there, Baruch Hashem. I was just a counselor. But it was a schus. I thank God I've gone on many difficult gulim of journeys of being involved with things, and I thank Hashem I had that time period as well. Very insightful. Right. And I hope I helped some people as well on the way. One of the guys actually recommended to a yeshiva. This is one nice story that came out of it. I was only there a bunch of months, and I recommended him because I really felt a good person there. And he was like one of the more graduates of the program. So I recommended him to a top yeshiva. Through that yeshiva, he got like completely straightened out. He got married. He, built a beautiful Jewish home. He's a Ben Torah. His whole life flipped.
Wow.
And I had to be the one to send that email to the mashgiach and to persuade the mashgiach to take him.
He's his life.
I have a bunch of people like that I've done that for. I'm not going to say all the names and who and what, but every so often Hashem gives me the schus to help someone go on their journey. Do they remember me? I don't know. I don't care. I did what I had to do when I was asked. So anyway, so the idea that Milah Miyamis Kazer Ein Sof Holin Ahavaza La Shem Ishvayesh B'Chala Yemini Shebeliba Az His Kafia.
Probably do some kafia action.
Yeah, his kafia. Now I got very excited when I saw that his kafia last time we learned, because I thought it was going to hafcha. We want to talk about when a hafcha. Here first we have to do his kafia, which is subduing the sitra achra, the other side. B'chala smuli.
Subjugate.
Yeah, subjugate the other side in the left side of the heart.
I think Reb Chaim Miller writes it as dominate, right? Or
subdue.
Subdue, right?
Yeah,
subdue.
I like his word subdue. That's why I used it. Yeah, that was a good
the
one.
The other word was dominate.
That's Moshel. Moshel,
right?
Yeah, we had that as well.
Avalon is battle agamri baby Beinoni betzadik shenemar.
Yeah, it's not. Very good. It's not nullified completely in this Beinoni that we're learning about. This is whole.
Yeah, Mama,
Beinoni.
It doesn't.
And even the Avrech Beinoni, even the Talmud Torah Beinoni, the one whose whole day is busy with Torah, he's still not levatel at legamri.
You're not better than me.
You're not a tzaddik. You're a Beinoni because
just like me.
You haven't nullified the Nefesh Bahamis. No, but there is and this is really important. When you go Panemius, that's when you get real equality, because we're all going through the same struggles, just in different ways. And then it gets rid of that whole stigma of you're learning or not learning, all that superficial conversation that goes on in the Torah world of shidduchim and this and that. That's got nothing to do with it.
It's a harder avodah to be about us.
Yeah, to deal with your Nefesh Bahamis. Their majority of the time, the Nefesh Elikus is running the show, like in a revealed way.
Yeah.
And so then you only
have to struggle with the from Yitzhahara.
Yeah, the frimates, or they're rubbing up with the Nefesh Bahamis inside them, or when they're having, more physical experiences, which will happen for everyone because we're human beings at the end of the day. But the Tzaddik, he's on a level, but Tzaddik Shinamar, but V'libi Chala B'kirbi, he gets rid of the Yitzhak Gamrei, Humas Bara V'sina B'tachlis Asina. This is where we got to yesterday. But Mayas, or the other 2 days ago. But said Shalom B'tachlis Asina Kanal. Okay, so we caught up. We're now holding where we need to be now. Yeah. Let's go. Aval. But Beinoni, just translate that. We didn't translate it. The Tzaddik hates the evil with a pure
Sur Meira,
focused hatred, and it's based on Tehillim. It's based on David HaMelech. David HaMelech reached this madrega of completely. He says it about himself. He purified his left side of the heart. He doesn't say the word left side, but he purified the heart and the Chalal Panimi. It's no yet Torah anymore, and he hated the evil with the Tachlis Asina. That's all quoted from David HaMelech, and David HaMelech was in that level as a dogma of someone who became a Tzaddik Gomor with no Yitzhahara, B'nai Aliyah. Maybe he always was, and it had to go through some Birurim till it was revealed. Right. But he was on that level. Aval Beinoni, who what's a Beinoni?
Aval Beinoni who derech Mashu Adam Shiasham, like a sleeping man.
Yeah.
Shiachal Achzo Uli or Meshanasei.
Kach.
Right. The kach is the next one.
Oh, okay. I don't have the help.
For example, who can awaken from his sleep?
You're going to help me today. The Beinoni, the Derech Moshe, the man is sleeping.
For example, who can awaken
and he's
from
awakening
his sleep
from
at
his
any time
sleep
and reactivate his faculties.
Yeah, good.
Kachara Beinoni.
Kachara, the Beinoni who Kishiyashan
B'chalo Ismaili.
Yeah, the left side of the heart is sleeping. Yeah. Right. B'shas kriyish mav tefillah. He's in a time of avodas Hashem. He came to shul davening today.
I'm assuming he's obviously tefillah.
Yeah, he's doing real tefillah.
Right, real tefillah.
Real davening. I mean, that's the assumption of the
Balatoni. One time, I remember one time listened to one of his thingies.
Sure, he's very strong in it.
He's very into. He's like, "What's the word tefillah?" And everyone kept saying prayer, and he's like,
"Wrong, Davek."
Wrong. It's not prayer. He's like, prayer is a Christian thing.
Yeah.
Which is really true. And
He
then
actually
it made
lives
me
there.
think,
I've seen him in his tefillah. He has in the whole.
like Tefilah is like Davekus. It's like,
Davekus.
I think, I don't know again where I read this or heard this once, like that Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan one time went to go give a shiur and it was raining, it was a snowstorm, people didn't show up and it was only a few people, and he's like, okay, instead of me giving the shiur I was supposed to give, he's like, I'm going to teach you guys how to say Shema. Like with Davek.
I love that in his Sefer Jewish meditation. That's exactly what turned me on.
Right.
As he takes a flame and he turns it into a meditation of Rabbanu.
Was it in the book, that story? No, I think I heard it once.
Yeah, it's a famous story, but there's also in his book very similar concepts.
Right, I love that book.
Simple like avodas.
These people said they were blown out of their kalim.
Yeah, because they never said Shema with proper kavanah.
Right.
If you look at Shulchan Aruch, it's pretty intense. I mean, the kavanah you're meant to have.
Right.
Shema, listen, YISRAEL, Nishmas YISRAEL, Yesh Shishim B'Asai Torah, that's added in, as I said, Shulchan Aruch. But the idea of all the Neshamas of Am Yisrael, listen, that Hashem, Adon HaKol, He's the master of everything, He was, He will be, Elokeinu, our God, Kabal Kolchis Kulam, He's the one who runs everything, Hashem again, Adon HaKol, the master of all, was, He will be, and then, because you have to have these commandments, this is in Halacha, right. And then Echad, we're just learning it Min Hashamayim right now. Just learning it right now in my Chavrusa Itamar. And Echad is big Aleph. The idea of the Aluf Hashem Echad. Ches is the seven heavens and the land, and Dalet is the Dalet Ruchos, the Dalet corners, the four corners of the world. You're bringing us all that Hashem's oneness into every aspect of creation. Right. You're holding us to it with the four corners.
You meditate on the word Echad for like days.
Echad, and you have to say it with that kind of intensity that you mean it. And it should hopefully bring that yichud, the unification. Then there's another unification, Baruch Hashem, the yichud, unification lamata, the yichud Allah, yichud tata. That's when you learn that in Hinachot, and please God. Right. And you start going off into these panemius. There's also it brings a beautiful Yushalmi. The Hashem Elokeinu is connected. The first of the Esedibus, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, and Hashem Echad is Lo Yelecha. So the whole shorish of all the mitzvahs asay, mitzvahs lo tasay, avos Hashem, yos Hashem is all kolo in Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And that's just from learning Shulchan Aruch, without getting into the Chassidus Shabbat. So the point is that when you start to really apply what the halacha and what the Torah is trying to get us to do, the kavanah of the Torah is to bring us to a very deep place of connection to Hashem.
Mamish does.
And then what happens? The YITZCHAK falls asleep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that level of Davekus, for sure it falls asleep.
It's asleep.
You're at the highest of the high.
And that's what he's saying here. But Tefilah, v'shalibo, he's davening in, that's in his heart. V'bora b'havas Hashem, and it's waking up this love for Hashem. Oh, what happens? As soon as he finishes davening, we learned this a little bit before as well, but he's bringing it up again. We're going to see this I think, a few times. The YITZCHAK wakes up again and says, hello. Like that. Remember that song, Meir, what's his name? Meir. I had him on my show a few times. I did some stuff. Melech Kon.
He's the man.
After that song. And he comes up. He goes, hello. It's like the YITZCHAK suddenly comes out and goes in an English accent. Hello. Like, you thought I was God. And suddenly comes
he's a Baal Tshuva, right?
He went on a journey, man. He's gone on he's gone on a real journey, that guy. Yeah,
does he live in the Holy Land or he lives in America?
Yeah. I think he got married and moved back to America. I'm not sure, but he's definitely around. Like I hosted him on BORUCH's show. I brought him there, and it was amazing. He's real. Like he's gone on a very real journey.
Hello.
Faced up a lot. I used to see him in Uman a lot as well. And he came to my daughter when my daughter got married back in the day. He came and sang there with Nissan Black and a few other people. And it was a really good schmack. But the marriage didn't last, but it was a good moment. Having him sing at my daughter's wedding. That was one of the powerful moments.
Wow.
Anyway,
Hashem.
Gone through stuff. But the YITZCHAK wakes up and says, hello. So we have to now face and deal with that YITZCHAK that says, hello, because we're in a state of, hopefully, of Davekus. We just said some beautiful kavanas about Shema that we're obligated to do every day, actually. It's not actually just, Chassidus. It's actually halacha. Yeah. So, in my opinion, nowadays, it's obligation to learn Chassidus as well, but that's my opinion. But the point is that, and I think the Bavcha would agree with me, but the point is, or he said it first, but the idea that we have to really awaken the neshama and then be real that we're going to be real, expect it to come. You don't have to, always expect it. You don't have to be in that headspace, here it comes again, but just be real that this is the back and forth, the up and down of life. You're going to have moments of Elikus and moments of Nefesh Bahamis. The key is so you're not going to let the Nefesh Bahamis run. But why?
Right.
Because you've intensified yourself, your connection enough that you're a Beinoni. You've done tshuva enough that you're not a Rasha. You're Rasha maybe sometimes, but you're not a Rasha. You're not identified as a Rasha. You're identifying yourself over here as a Beinoni. Now, if you've destroyed your Yitzhak, because in Tei, Sadik, yeah, but like we said, they're Bnei Eliyahu, they're very mi'atzim, they're very few. Yeah, so what is this? Can you translate? Just make sure I'm getting it right.
This reason, Rabbah considered himself.
Yeah, the holy Rabbah.
Or the Rabbah. After lo pasak pumya me girsa.
This is going to make our life difficult now.
Torah study.
Yeah, why is it difficult?
With Torah Hashem chafza yom v'layla mechfitza v'chashika v'tashuka.
The nefesh.
Right, and his that's the next one. And his desire was
right.
That was that's what he wanted. Yom v'layla chafitza v'chashika v'tashuka.
That's all.
Craving, desire, and longing.
Yeah, so never cease from his mouth. So he's on a level where he never stopped learning. I just heard from Rabbi Nachman that even the Divrei Chulin of Tamar Chachomim is Kodesh.
Right.
They're busy. They talk about stuff. They talk about going to the rabbinate to get this done or that done. Rabbis at Rabbeinu, their stum daily life is Kodesh. Yeah.
Look, what is it? Rosal saying Rabbeinu Zachar Lavacha.
Yes.
Rabbeinu.
Yes.
Halavai sheis bal adam kol hayom kulo.
Oh, we had this in the Machon, this famous Chazal, that Halavai, I should pray all day. So why would you want to be Halavai, pray all day? Because
then your Yitzhar is subdued.
You're in a state of Nefesh Elikus.
Ooh.
Tamid.
Wow.
And who would want that freedom? Imagine the Nudnik stops talking. Yeah,
right.
The inner Nudnik, that Dracop going hello is you booted him out. That song, no one really listens to it that much anymore because it had its time.
Hello.
You know what makes a song like eternal is when everyone listens to it always.
Right. There's some songs like that.
Yeah,
just forever.
Yeah, they're not just this. We're in a very trending world right now. Things come and go.
Like Yosef Karduner's
Shir Amalas. That's going to always be.
That song is like mamish. Like when, I don't know, but I imagine that when David HaMelech wrote that kapitel,
the closest version.
That was what exactly he was.
That's the closest version. I agree.
Talking about David HaMelech, yesterday I went to this guy who builds harps.
Oh, what Gutman Locks? Guru Locks, the guy in the Altity.
This guy, his place burned down. He was Harari Harps.
Oh, okay.
This guy was a trip. He lived in this place.
Goodman Locks plays the harp, and he built his own one.
This guy lives
played
in
it for me a few times.
Harari Harps.
You're going to get a lot of people thinking they're David HaMelech or Mashiach. They're going hanging out there.
Oh, Ramat Araziel.
Oh, nice. They're like from the base of English, these guys.
I know. He actually, he was showing me this whole place. He actually donated, he built this for the Machon, what is that called?
For the Temple Institute.
The Temple Institute, yeah. This is at the Temple Institute.
This is going to be, hopefully, when Mashiach comes,
yes,
used.
He built the harps for the Temple Institute.
Wow.
These are the harps there at the Temple Institute.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll show you Guru Locks, Gutman harps. I'm just Googling it. And I haven't seen his harp for ages. I used to go around and play it and meditate together. It was geschmack. A long time ago. Yeah, hear this. Look at Gutman Locks when he was a guru in Manhattan. He was one of the first people to macabre me. That's him, picture of him playing the harp. Someone did it.
That's when I first saw Friends.
Yeah, that's him with his harp. His book. My dad read that book. He thought it was hilarious.
I played the harp yesterday.
He's still putting tefillin on people. He must be in his late 90s or something. I don't know. He's been around. He was a guru in the 60s.
Wow.
He's one of the first people I went to Pesach.
Holy.
Yeah, I had my first Seder nights by him in Israel, and we're always in touch.
Filled with some of the holiest Jews.
He's one of the people I've always been in touch with. He doesn't go travel out of the old city. He doesn't go to simchas and things like that. He just has his schedule. It's very specific, and he's also a vegetarian. Doesn't eat meat when you go there, but the food he makes is better than meat.
Oh yes, I know. Okay, yes, of course.
He's by the old city. You walk
famous,
in.
Yeah, I think Leah went. My wife.
We've been in touch with each other for like 26 years. He was one of the first people I met when I came to Israel.
People there. Leah told me there's this lady that she goes there who wears a wedding dress every Friday night to davening.
Oh, I love that.
I think their last name is Fox, or I don't know.
There's always a bunch of
Like a
people.
very wealthy person from, like they're Baal Tshuvas. Like the husband was like a football player. I don't know.
So all these
famous people in the old city.
All these unique souls. And I've been in touch with him since this. I mean, this is by email. That's 2010. But I met him in 1998. The first time I ever met him. He put tefillin on me. One of the first people to put tefillin on me in my life. And eventually I got my own Baruch Hashem. So Rabbah considered himself as a Beinoni. So once Rabbah's considered himself as a Beinoni, and Torah is never ever ceasing from his mouth, such a level, he's learning night and day, with a passionate craving and longing of a soul yearning for Hashem, with overwhelming love. And then we do the next part of the Tanya, the nefesh. Yeah, you want to carry on? The nefesh.
Yeah, I lost my place.
The nefesh.
The nefesh v'kokal Hashem yahav Rabbah k'b'shas kriyashema.
Oh.
But in Beinu k'beinu mispal kol yom. Amra Beinu zachron l'vracha lavai she'itpalel Adam kol hayom kulo.
So that's what we read, and then they get to that v'nefesh. Such experience during the sign of the Shema and the Shemon Esrei, he appeared in his own like an intermediate. He calls himself an intermediate man, in between a man.
Right, so we can understand.
Yeah? Who prays all day.
With
that, a man prayed the whole day long. So he was, in a way, the way he is in his huge humility, he was in such a state of nefesh elikus all day, learning, davening.
Seems like the Alter Rebbe held that he wasn't a Beinoni, though.
Yeah, seeming like it. But it felt like he still had the self-awareness that somewhere inside him was this YITZCHAK.
Which feels nice.
That was still talking to him somehow. I don't know how. I don't understand this level, but I'm just reading what it says here.
Yeah, I also don't understand.
But it's a very, borderline tzaddik level of tzaddik she'enu gomo. Because even if he says he has some YITZCHAK, but I don't think it manifested, or even as a voice. Yeah.
Or even saying yes, YITZCHAK.
How was he able to measure himself? Maybe it's just our humility he was calling himself.
Right, exactly.
Because it's a certain getter of, if we're going to get medayik and lamdish a little bit, if we really want to be medayik in the Balatani's words, which amount, how much of a buria, like the rabbi said, how much of a miyat does it need to be of the YITZCHAK to be called now the getter of a tzaddik over the getter of a Beinoni?
Right.
Let's be a little bit yeshivish here now. Come on.
Right.
Bring out your Tosus and say, the nearer the Ri, the Ri is saying that if it's a certain 1 in 1,000 YITZCHAK, so you'll get a tzaddik she'enu gomo. Just making it up, just as a moshel. And if you've got 1 in 60th, you're still a Beinoni.
Right. The Rosh says, is it in din? Is it a din alumdus, or a din of a tzaddik or is he just
what kind of gedder of thoughts does it have to manifest? Now, what kind of machshava is it also? Is it when you identify yourself with the thought? Right. So then you're a rasha. But if you don't identify with the thought, then you're a Beinoni. But what if the thought is so outside of you, then you're a tzaddik? Right. I'm just trying to figure it out. It's just a little bit lamdish over here, especially when you bring this Rabbah, because it sounds like it's a very refined level, a Beinoni like Rabbah, who hold it, and he says this, and it's in Shas, for all the Doris. It means, probably it's true, it's not probably, 100% it's true, it's Kodesh Kedoshim, the Chazal, so it's 100% true, but it's just we don't understand it. The problem is we're not able to masig the level of a Beinoni like Rabbah.
Right.
With
part of his Beinoni.
With Rav Chaim, what's his name? Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Zatzal, would he has said himself as Beinoni, with Steinerman, all these people, would they hold themselves Beinoni? They hold themselves as I don't know what. How would they? They went in the sugya of Tanya of Beinoni the way that Tanya understands it. I don't know, but I do know that based on the way that Tanya is taking Chazal and the fact that Chazal uses this lashon of Beinoni, and it's about a big tzaddik who never stopped learning and davening, and it was the nefesh elikus is mamish sholet. So he still holds himself as a Beinoni?
Well, also, according to this, Rabbah probably never even knew if he wasn't a Beinoni or not, because he was always learning and wanting to learn, that because his YITZCHAK was always subdued, he chalked it up as to, the only reason why I'm considered the only reason why I don't feel my YITZCHAK is because I'm busy learning a tefillah all day, but if I didn't learn... then maybe
that's the clarification. He wasn't tested like us, Shmuel.
Wasn't tested, right?
Who have the constant, back and forth on the emails and the phones, and all the nisyonis we have.
I like a good fight, so I always invite him back in. I say, come back in. You want another beatdown? I'll give you a beatdown.
You sound a bit like David Goggins. David Goggins, he's always talking to the inner BITCH. Excuse my language, I'm just quoting him. The whole thing is,
David Goggins.
yeah, your son's into him.
I don't know. He always talks to him. I'm like, who is this?
That's
now suddenly I remember because you mentioned him before.
I mean, I can show you 2 seconds of David Goggins just so you can just have an image of this dude.
Is he a guy?
Proper, like, hardcore, grew up a big, fat black guy. Yeah, excuse my language, but that's how he describes himself. And then he became, like, this superhero for a lot of people.
He's like rich?
Oh, he's made money, man. He was a Navy SEAL, retired Navy endurance athlete. You know, just take one video of him on his daily workout. You know, he's got messed up legs like you can't imagine. He'll just run and run and run. And he'll, like,
Long rehab. It's my first week back running. That's about 6-7 weeks. I know a lot of you don't understand. I don't give a shit.
it's all the language.
One thing I found out. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world.
Excuse the language.
But one thing I fucking do know.
That's why there's not so
This life
close.
is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures. All
Who's
your
videotaping
doubts,
him?
all your shit.
He has people.
You better keep fighting, keep getting up.
He's got a whole team around him. He's a massive, like,
He has
income revenue. He's got these whole people that, you know, people hold of him like he's like
He's
the
like
Messiah.
the Rebbe.
Yeah, he's a Rebbe shtickle for a lot of people because he fights. He shows you how to fight this inner voice, this
Right.
inner Nudnik, and he does it to the nth degree.
Right.
Where your body's telling you stop running, stop doing this, stop hustling, stop making an effort, and he's like, no, Badafka, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to fight until the end, until I'm like his knees fall apart, and he has to have them operated back. Like, he's not going to stop. Nothing's going to stop him.
Sounds like he's destroying his body.
In
though.
some level, but in another level, he comes out even stronger because his mind is so over his body. That's the point. That's the chizik that people get.
Wow. He's like a Joe Rogan chavra?
Yeah, he's friends with Joe. But Joe always, like, you know, Joe's no way as intense as Joe can get pretty intense in his own way, but he's not like that. He's much more sweet in how he talks about these kind of the inner voice and stuff. He also is very strong in his inner voice. They call it the inner BITCH. You gotta deal with this nudnik. We call it the YITZCHAK. We know what it is.
Right.
Nefesh Bahamis. Now I don't know with the Goyim if there's a chiluk exactly because, you know, their description of, you know, we're trying to aim for ruchnius, for the Davek
Right, there's
Hashem.
more of a gashmistic.
Yeah, Gashmis
It's
Hatzlacha.
interesting. Their Hatzlacha is very, very not about. They have a little bit of the ruchnius, but it's more about like Shalom bias or kids. But it's like a very watered down version. Like, I mean, our ultimate goal is.
Well, one of the reasons is because we haven't done our job communicating to them, and there's a higher purpose here.
Very interesting.
That's my Tanya and Amiso.
Right.
I said it last night to the podcaster person. I said, look, very good. You got your podcast. I said, all these people also, well done, kala kavod. But we're not doing our job impacting the big voices of our generation.
In another way, it's hard to.
The only one who did is Rabbi Sachs, but he's no longer here. So, you know, so who do we have?
Hard to. They're chasing at us with guns, trying to kill us.
Yeah, but, you know, Rabbi Sachs still knew how to do it.
Right. He was.
You know,
amazing.
other ones I've seen, they're just creating turmoil by fighting back aggressively. It's not working.
Right.
Like Rav Shlomo's point is it has to be Chochmah Bina Das. It has to be with with Panemius. It can't just be with just shouting back at them. It's not going to work.
Right. Well, there also needs to be like a healthy balance. Like, we're so afraid of this quote unquote, you know, we're so afraid of this quote unquote, you know, Chil Hashem.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is we just end up like looking like a bunch of weak losers.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's going that way that much now. After this like recent 5-month war, I mean the soldiers definitely aren't.
Right,
They're
so
strong. I
think
see my
that,
son.
like,
He's a gibor. He has no havamina. Yeah,
I think people look at Israel now as like
he's
a
not
little bit
worrying
more
about that old
stronger.
school Hillel Shem nonsense.
Right.
Because honestly, my Rabbanim themselves told me that's not emes. That Hillel Hashem that you heard growing up, don't be a Hillel Hashem, all that stuff. That's not the true understanding of Hillel Hashem. Hillel Hashem is not doing what's in Hashem. That's what Hillel Hashem is. Not
Like,
doing what people think of you. What people think of you is irrelevant.
We're still crazy.
It's
I
gornish.
just read that they
Public
transferred
opinion
a
means
bunch of
nothing.
orphans from Gaza to Beit Lechem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But public opinion, world opinion means ephes.
Right.
And the sooner we realize it on an inner level as Torah people,
And my wife is done.
we won't have this issue. And we'll stand strong in the fact just being a Beinoni is a tremendous hatzlacha.
Right.
David Goggins doesn't even know what that is. If we could sit and talk to someone like that and explain all this inner dialogue he's going on for years,
Right.
teaching everyone, explain to him and say, look, bro, it's because you have a soul, but you're not listening too much to the soul. You're just all the time fighting. Allow the soul to enter yourself a little bit. Same with Rogan. I realize this love you have for all these people around you, and you built this community of comedians and stuff. Realize that it's shorish and love for human beings comes from the soul. Now, once you understand as a soul, now you can start educating yourself about what the soul is, and that would change everything. Because all the time they're looking for the soul, they just don't get there because whereas I'm YISRAEL teaching them this, we're not there to make that net bridge. Our job is to be that bridge to the soul.
The Lubavitcher Rebbe was
They
very
come
into
to
this.
us. Yeah, go on.
No, the Lubavitcher Rebbe was very into teaching the Goyim.
Yeah, he was able to do that.
I think Rav Kook was also, probably not as much, but that was also a big Indian of his too.
Like even Yoshka, as much as everyone has Tanya to him,
Punjak.
the Rav Kook, in a controversial way of understanding it, explains he was a high neshama. And the Rambam himself says that he prepared the world for the concepts of Mashiach, that they wouldn't have been. They were pagan before Yoshka came along. So Yoshka had a big soul, it just went the wrong way. So we have to realize that rather than macabre them to a false Messiah, we have to bring them to the truth.
We need a Mashiach movement.
Yeah.
I already have some ideas about that. We need to make Mashiach cool again.
Yeah.
Right? You have to brand it and make it cool and create like a...
But not too superficial, because it's really only going to be stand the test if it's based on panemius.
But it awakens the mind, I think, where people will feel so comfortable with it, where suddenly they're now...
Yeah.
It's like, if you... Like I have this wild theory, but I really believe it's true. Like, what made Likutei Moharan, like a term of Nachman, like what made it acceptable was the superficiality part of it, like going to Uman, the nanachs, the dancing, the smiling,
nice
the merch, like that's really
the fact that you have a tikkun even when you've fallen so low,
right?
Like
Like it was really the superficial parts of Breslev, right? Because then you meet a real Breslever in Misharm.
I would say the reason is because when it was clothed in superficial garments, but it was based on such deep panemius,
right?
Such Kodesh Kadoshim Torah, that the Kodesh Kadoshim Torah shined even in that space,
right?
Of
like the reason why the Chabad Mashiach movement is so, even till today, like when I see a Mashiach flag, I'm like, oh, those guys are whacked.
Yeah,
is because it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like this is being done like L'Shem Shemayim when those guys wave those flags. It feels like they're trying to stick their finger at somebody. Like it doesn't feel like you're
point.
Part of my Mashiach. Like no, it feels like you're like change the flag around.
His name is Rav Nachman Borman. He said the same thing about my tshuva process. He said you're too angry. And you're taking
form
it
of
out.
rebellion.
You're sticking your tzitzis in people's faces. You're sticking your payers. I was growing payers in yeshiva. So get rid of the payers. Tuck in your tzitzis. Stop smashing your Yiddishkeit in other people's faces.
Right.
If it's real, it will shine. It doesn't need to be forced on anyone. Same with the woke movement, the Havdils. It's all forced. If it's real, it will just shine from within. It will shine even in the merch. It will shine in everything you're doing. And that's why we have to... How do we shine? By learning the panemius. You see, Rabbah was shining to the point where he was halavai. He wanted to daven all day at such a level, so that even though most of us can't do that all day, but if that's where we're at, we want the base of English, we want the Mashiach, we really want the Gula Shlema for the world, for the good of the world. We want soul to be dominant over the physical, so that it can spiritualize everything and bring everything to a good place of values and truth. So if we really want these kind of values and we live it day after day, it starts to pour out of us, starts to shine in how we act, how we smile, how we do business. And that will say much more than the words and the movement. Yeah. The movement will generate maybe, but it's not going to come from an external place. A lot of the isms that the Jewish people created in the last 200 years did not work out so great. Communism, socialism, and a lot of the Jewish people were behind them.
It's coming to haunt us.
Yeah. So now we have to get back to the panemius. That was what we were missing, all those movements. There's never... The only real movement that's still around that's MS was the Hasidim, honestly.
Right,
and it never really became an ism. And even the Hasidic world needs to do tshuva as well, like on a big way, and get back to the panemius. Like it can't just keep going around in circles. I know,
it's very interesting. I mean, I grew up around Hasidim.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather was Babiv, and a lot of my cousins are Hasidim, all Bar. And I remember like being like, see, these people are so weird. And even now, when I tell my kids, like, oh yeah, we're Chassids, we learn Chassidus, they're like, we're not Chassidish. And it's like trying to understand, there's difference between like the Torah, the Nachman, Torah, the Baal Shem Tov, like, and then there's like the other, like the Hasidic dynasties, which are, it feels like have lost.
Not all of them, obviously, and not the Rebbes themselves.
Well, at least the New York versions of them now have started to turn around a little bit, I believe, over the years. They started turning around. Like I know Babev has like really started to turn things around there. The new Rebbe there is like amazing.
Yeah, it really comes down to making sure
Rebbe,
that you're connected to a tzaddik in the middle of it.
I'm sure they're all wonderful.
It has to be the tzaddik in within, and that has to be the Kavanah. And when you're really with a tzaddik, like my Rebbe made time for my daughter this week, and when you're with a tzaddik, you feel the care, you feel the panemius warmth, the love, the neshama, you feel the neshama connection, and that is what helps you get through the nisyonis of all the externalities that go on with all this stuff. And it's about finding those.
The Rebbe's like, we need Rebbe's today.
Yeah, but real Rebbe's.
Yeah, like a real Rebbe.
Real Hasidim of the Baal Shem Tov. I just saw a beautiful Torah. We'll end on this. That this week's Parsha Pekudei, it has a beautiful concept. The Pekudei, that the Hasidic Rebbe said by reading this Parsha, it's connected to Shemona Esrei, it's Davekus. There's true Davekus. This whole Parsha, it's 18 times Moshe's commanded to love to each part of this Parsha is a commandment. It's connected to Shemona Esrei, the 18 brachos of Shemona Esrei. You're in the whole Parsha is in a state of Davekus till we get the Hukan and Mishkan. We're in a state of Davekus. What's the point? That just by reading this Parsha, says the Hasidic Svarim, you get drawn into the world of the Baal Shem Tov and Yechidim, the idea of making Yechidim, making unifications. That's what Moshe Beinoni.
Who says this? The Tolna Rebbe?
This is brought down, and I think the Mor Shemesh says it. The idea that we get just this Parsha by just listening to the Parsha and seeing again Moshe being commanded, and all the big day Kahuna and everything else, and getting to the climax of Sefer Shmos, Sefer Geula, you get to a level when we get to Chazak. We already had the Mishnah on the previous week. We're in a state of Yechidim, of unification. He says even the most simple Yid, just by being present and listening and tuning into the light, allowing himself to be there and the present, to experience the revelation of this week's Parsha, you get access to Yechidim.
That's very deep.
Huh. Yeah, because what's Pekida?
Who is the Ma'ar?
It's Ma'or V'Shemesh.
Ma'ar V'Shemesh.
He was the original Zayda of the Pinsetza, the Kamen as Kamen.
Oh wow!
His name's also Kamen as Kamen. He was one of the older Rebbes from the original Chassidim, right at the beginning. And his beautiful sefer, Ma'or V'Shemesh. Oh wow, it's above a Rebbe.
That's above a Rebbe. We did our upshare in there. This is me in my black hat.
No, I like it.
It's a rare photo.
The Ma'or V'Shemesh is one of my favorite svarim, and it's allowing us. This is real. What Hasidus was about. The Baal Shem Tov was about building everyone into like mini Baal Shems. Everyone can have
your own Rebbe.
You have to become a Baal Shem Tov in a certain way. And what the Tanya and what the Kutim Aron is trying to help us do, all this svarim we've been learning together, is to help us also become a shtickle Rebbe in our way. Yeah, to be in tune with the Nefesh Shalakus. What is a Rebbe? What does it mean, a Rebbe? Rosh B'nai Yisrael, head of B'nai Yisrael. How do you become a leader, mashpir of B'nai Yisrael? You have to have the clarity of the Pneumius Torah, so then you can shine that to others, so they can go on that way.
All right.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of important discussion points, and I feel like Minashmaim with the podcast last night, all the stuff I said, I don't know if she got it. But you get it.
I get it.
Rosh Shlomo definitely is teaching it, and we're in the right place. I hope the world will wake up. I really do. I really hope. I miss her.